Hey everyone. So I never thought I'd be making a video like this. I don't know if anyone will watch it or if it'll make sense, but that's okay. Because this video is my message in a bottle to anyone who needs it, who understands it, and to myself as a reminder for when I need it too. Right now it's about 2:47 a.m. local time in sunny Seattle. And the American election has just been called. The result is, needless to say, a very scary one. And because of that, I'm having trouble convincing myself to fall asleep. Because, low key, I don't think I want to wake up to the world of tomorrow. And ostensibly, this is a video about the 2024 election, but I'll be honest, I've been here before, in my dark room, alone, dreading tomorrow. And often for way less meaningful reasons than an election. The most consequential. I got home early from work today. At work, once Pennsylvania went red, there was screaming in the streets. The fire alarm suddenly went off, and many of the patrons at my job left to go be with their loved ones. I have a 2-hour bus ride home, and I guess that's something that'll never get fixed. And sitting on that bus alone, I was just staring out the window at the effect the news was having on my city. And usually when things are bad, I smile and I lock in. And I've been at enough protests and I've been tear gassed enough to know that's how I respond to danger. It's like exciting. But this bus ride, I don't know, I can't even describe how I felt. It wasn't like an out of body experience. It was like there was not a thought in my head or an ounce of energy in my body. I was just like sitting there, kind of like Mr. Krabs in that episode where he lost his shell. I was just goo. And all I could do was stare out the window and occasionally shiver from the cold. And while trying to snap myself out of this, the only deep thought that came to my head was when I would see myself in the window and I would think about how much my work uniform made me look like Shinji Ikari. So I got home, and for this reason, I decided to rewatch Neon Genesis Evangelion while laying down. Neon Genesis Evangelion is the story of Shinji Ikari, a young boy forced to contend with a world destroyed by the generations before him. And because the older generations broke the world, they're relying on their children and grandchildren to fix it, while still keeping power over the younger generation. Also, there's giant robots that the teenager characters pilot and use to fight these giant monsters called angels. And there's a bunch of Bible references, and as someone raised Catholic, it's really sick. I didn't really have a neat parallel there, but maybe someone in the comments can find one. Trump was first elected president when I was in my first year of high school. I remember being in class when the results were first called, and when that happened, there was this feeling, along with despair, that at least he would be gone by the time we all became adults. And maybe we thought Americans would wake up by then to how broken the whole system is, and we might even do something to change it by then. Years later, I'm 23 now, grappling with the fact that nothing was learned in the 4 years of a Trump presidency. And assuming, of course, he will leave office at the end of his next term, I will be nearly 30. So I'm laying in my bed, staring blankly at my phone, thinking about that, while Shinji stares blankly back at me. And I'm thinking about how my family will be affected by Trump's deportations, how this administration will basically destroy theater, and I'll probably never be able to make a living from the career I've dedicated my life to. How this means that the fight against climate change is basically over, and will there be a world for me to grow old on? And I had to really consider in myself, is there a point of living through this? Then Neon Genesis Evangelion hits me with this line. And I just had to pause it and take it in. I said it before, but I've had this feeling before. before. Oh, this is why I should write a script someday. And I said it was for sillier reasons than an election. But I've also been here before, and for more difficult reasons than an election. And yet I chose to live and see it through. And when they say it's always darkest before the dawn, let me tell you, I've been to the darkest, and I do know in my core that the dawn is coming. It always is. As long as the earth is still here, and it will be, there's nothing we can do about that. So I know in my soul that everything will be all right. It'll be difficult, of course. I'm not saying it won't. But it's always easier with another person to go through it with you. The first thing I did was text a couple friends, maybe some who I haven't talked to in a while. Just wanted to say, hey, I'm here for you. And I was shocked how many people who I thought wouldn't respond said, hey, I'm here for you too. So please, at this insane time of human existence, hold yourself close to the ones you love, because we'll make it through. And someday all our most difficult times will become the stories we laugh about at the dinner table. And the things that scared us and the things that hurt us will slowly become the faded memories of a dream. So until that day, that is coming. Hug your friends. Hug anyone. Be earnest about your feelings. There's not enough time in our little lives to be cynical anymore. Who knows what will happen tomorrow and in the coming years? I genuinely don't think a single soul in the world knows what it means to have unleashed the angels. But I do know one thing, that it's going to be difficult, and we'll all find our own different ways to cope. However you do it, please don't grow cynical to the world. Don't grow calloused. It's cynicism that brought us here. Our fears of ourselves and of our neighbors. The cynical belief that a better world isn't possible. Or the cynical reasons people find to fear their neighbors who are struggling just as much as them. In Neon Genesis Evangelion, see, I brought it full circle. Shinji rejected the peace brought by the third impact, the dissolving of people's egos, because he was so scared of the other, and more importantly, of himself. He had become attached to his calluses, and he couldn't let them go, and doing that just continued his cycles of pain. So let go of what's holding you back from being open. Being afraid is okay. Let yourself feel it, and if you need help through this time, let someone help you. And finally, please trust me when I say this, that no matter how terrible it looks, and it's going to look pretty bad, I'm not going to lie, the world is a better place with you in it. And a better world is always possible. And you can make that happen, whether it's joining your local struggle and organizing, or just earnestly telling someone that their outfit looks nice today. We only have one life. And there's really no time to waste it. Grieve as long as you need to grieve. I certainly will. But once the grieving process is done, don't let grief turn into despair. Because the world can be a paradise. As long as you have the will to make it, there's always a chance. The sun, the moon, and the earth will always be here. So please, be here too. And if you do, everything will be all right. Thank you for listening, and be safe out there, my friends. Okay, bye.